Hi, I'm Stacy. You know what, guys? If you ever find yourself in an awkward situation and think that you are the most unfortunate, unlucky person, then remember me, because I am sure that I will surpass you 100 times. Well, while you are wondering what and how, I suggest you listen to my story, and I ask you to feel it, support me, and help me. In short, it was when I was a freshman in high school. I had a boyfriend named Charlie. This was my first boyfriend in my life, so I didn't really know how to build relationships. It seemed to me at that moment that everything should be as I imagined. But who knew that at that time, I had only castles in the air and cotton candy in my head. My boyfriend was older than me. Well, he had more experience. On this basis, we often had conflicts. I was offended, hung up, dumbed down on a date, and generally behaved like a child. But you know, I had real feelings for him. Yes, I loved him, and I loved him very much. But what made me mad was that he didn't run after me. Well, I'm not hiding the fact that I wanted to, and he kept saying that he wasn't a gopher. What's that got to do with it? I didn't tell him to wait on me. All I asked of him was a normal relationship, that he would treat me the same way I did him. Is it really that hard? In general, the last time we had a fight, it was just the anniversary of our relationship. 6 months of a frenzied relationship, scandals, and at the same time, passion. We decided to celebrate it in a special way and went to a restaurant. Charlie promised to give me some cool gift, and I decided to do it in return. I bought an expensive watch that he had long wanted, making an engraving on the back with the inscription, "With love, S." However, I had to get into a lot of debt because I did not want to take money from my parents. In short, it was hard to find such a sum of money, but I did it and bought it. We met at a restaurant, and I was wearing a classy red dress and new shoes. I told him that I understand that sometimes I can be unbearable. I have an unstable mood, but one thing remains unchanged: my love. And after that, I gave him the watch. Charlie was taken aback by the gift. He said it was unexpected and very nice, and then lowered his head down. I started asking him what was wrong, why he was acting like this. But Charlie was silent, and when 10 minutes had passed, he suddenly looked up at me and said we can't be together. What? What do you mean? How come? I asked question after question. I didn't understand what was happening and thought it was a joke. But Charlie wasn't smiling. Then he mumbled something like his mom found out about our relationship and said that he couldn't date me because of my young age. I was in shock. My heart was broken. I even felt like I was suffocating. I couldn't believe this was happening. I looked at him, picked up my purse, got up, and left. He called my name, asked me to talk, but I didn't want to listen to him. I walked stupidly, without stopping. I got home on autopilot. I was whining nonstop all the way. I was so sick that I thought I was going to throw up or lose consciousness or just wake up and find out that it was a nasty, disgusting dream. At one point, I even thought that maybe he made it all up just to get rid of me. I waited about a week for his call, hoping that he would come back and we would make up. But I couldn't stop myself from texting him and calling him first. And then, when the second week passed, I learned from our mutual friends that his mother was really against our relationship because she found her son a richer bride and she insisted that he marry her. A corrupt creature, I thought to myself. This anger boiled up in me and to some extent helped me to quickly recover. Then I remembered that I had such a big debt hanging because I bought that man the watch of his dreams and now I needed to spread the debts for them. I searched the internet for a suitable part-time job and found an ad. It was with a normal salary. All you had to do was come to the house twice a week and clean it for money. I was fine with that, so we made a quick deal. I started working in a couple of days. The house was large, very beautiful, and there were nice owners. They had a daughter. She was a little older than me, but she had all the manners. She always greeted me politely and smiled, and I liked it. I didn't like people turning up their noses when they had money, because you never know how long you'll be rich. But that's not all. One day, while cleaning her room, I came across a clock that looked painfully familiar. My hands were shaking, but I took them from the table of the hostess's daughter, and there was the same inscription. Yes, this is the same watch that I gave Charlie during our anniversary and separation. At this moment, the girl came into the room and I asked her where she got this watch, to which she said that her boyfriend gave it to her. I asked her his name and she said, "Charlie, why?" I got out of it by saying that it was nothing, just that my boyfriend had the same watch. The owner's name was Stella, and I think he gave her a gift under the guise of her name. I was so angry at that moment. I wanted to cry and yell at the same time. I made a promise to myself not to show anything, quickly finished the job and went home, where I let my emotions run wild. I told my friend about everything, and she advised me to give both of them a good shit and leave nicely. I wanted revenge, so I agreed. The next week, when I went to that house, I was already determined to give the landlady's daughter a pig. Although somewhere in the depths of my soul, I understood that she had nothing to do with it, and probably did not even know about my existence in the status of the ex of this goat. But anger raged in me. When I finished cleaning, I went to the courtyard, where Stella was sitting, sunbathing by the pool. She offered me lemonade and a swim in the pool. Man, it was so cute, but I refused, and Stella said that if she could swim, she would. So all she had to do was sit by the pool. She was further into the book and reading something. Then the neighbor's dog ran at her. It was huge and hit her. Stella fell into the pool and began to call for help. At some point, I even thought that maybe I should do nothing, but then I jumped in after her and pulled her out. Stella and her parents thanked me for this for a long time. They invited me to stay for dinner, and I agreed. In the evening, when we sat down to eat, do you know what happened? Yes, Charlie was there. You should have seen his face when he saw me. Stella's parents began to talk about my generosity, and I could barely restrain myself from teasing him. I really wanted him to be hurt as much as I was. When the dinner was over, I packed up and went home. Charlie caught up with me halfway and started asking me everything. I told him how it was, and then he started asking for forgiveness. He said that he didn't love that Stella, that he was only with her for the money, and that he wanted her to date in parallel with him. It was absurd. You know, you're worse than I thought. You don't deserve any of us, I told him and went home. The next day, I went to Stella and honestly told her everything about our relationship, how I felt, and about yesterday's conversation. As evidence, I gave her a tape recording. Stella didn't get upset. To my surprise, she just said that she didn't like him and that her mother insisted on their relationship only because of the good relationship with his mother. But now, his words changed everything. She hugged me and thanked me for saving her. After this incident, they broke up. I didn't care about Charlie, but I had a new friend. Stella was such a wonderful person that she never regretted that it happened this way. So girls, stay alert. Suddenly your ex's new girlfriend is much cooler than him. And do not forget to put likes, write an opinion in the comments,